There's a quiet kind of strength that lives in every step we take. But as the years go by, each movement starts to whisper a little louder. A small ache in the knee, a stiffness in the ankle, a hesitation before that first step out of bed. It's not weakness. It's time reminding us that the body needs care, not just endurance. For many over 60, even walking across the room can feel like a slow negotiation. Each step demands patience. Each bend feels uncertain. But what if there was a simple way to bring ease back into motion? Not a complex routine, not a painful stretch, just a gentle movement that teaches the body to trust itself again. The answer lies in something so small, yet so powerful, the connection between your knees and your toes. It's where balance begins. It's where mobility returns. And today, we'll explore how one mindful motion can help you move better, feel stronger, and live with less pain. So take a breath. Let's begin the journey, one slow bend at a time. Margaret wakes up before the sunrise, as she always does. The sky outside her window glows with soft shades of pink and gold. Steam curls from her cup of tea, resting on the windowsill. She lifts it slowly, feeling the warmth against her palms. It's quiet, peaceful, until she takes that first step. A dull ache pulses through her knees. Her ankles feel stiff, heavy, uncooperative. She exhales softly, steadying herself with one hand on the counter. It's not pain that makes her pause. It's the memory of how easily she used to move. Years ago, she would dance while cooking breakfast. She would walk barefoot in her garden, watering the flowers with a light heart. Now, even the thought of bending to tie her shoes makes her hesitate. Margaret isn't alone in this quiet struggle. Many people over 60 know this feeling well. The joints grow slower, the muscles less forgiving. The body begins to speak in whispers, small tugs, tightness, fatigue. It's not sudden. It creeps in gently, day after day. And one morning, it simply becomes the new normal. But deep down, Margaret still remembers the freedom of effortless movement. The way her legs once carried her without question. The way she could kneel in her garden for hours, lost in the joy of planting. Now she watches from her window instead, missing the smell of the soil. She tells herself it's just part of aging, that slowing down is inevitable. But there's a quiet voice inside her that refuses to accept that answer. A voice that says movement shouldn't hurt. It should heal. It should connect her to life again. One afternoon, while talking to her friend Claire, Margaret confides her frustration. Claire, who is 65 and walks every morning, smiles knowingly. She tells Margaret about something simple she learned from her physical therapist. A small movement called the knee-to-toe bend. It's not magic, Claire says, but it works. Margaret laughs softly, skeptical but curious. How could something so small make a difference? Claire explains how it helps the knees and ankles move together, gently, like partners. It reminds the body how to bend and balance again. That night, Margaret can't stop thinking about it. She lies in bed, imagining the feeling of bending her knees without stiffness. She wants that again, not youth but comfort. Not speed but grace. The next morning, as sunlight pours through her kitchen window, she decides to try. She stands tall beside her chair. Her knees feel uncertain. Her breath trembles slightly. But she smiles anyway. Because every journey, no matter how small, begins with one simple step. And for Margaret, that step starts with a gentle bend from knee to toe. The next morning, the world feels quiet and new. Margaret stands near the kitchen table, the early light soft on her face. She places one hand on the back of a chair, steady but unsure. Her knees still feel stiff, her ankles heavy, like forgotten hinges on an old door. But she remembers Claire's words. Start small, feel the ground beneath you. So she breathes in. Slowly, she lets her heels press into the floor. Her toes lift slightly, then lower again. It feels strange at first, almost too simple. She bends her knees a little, watching her body shift forward. Her weight moves from heel to toe, a gentle sway. There's no pain, only a faint stretch, a reminder of forgotten movement. She straightens again, carefully, feeling her balance return. It's a small victory, a quiet whisper of motion coming back to life. Margaret doesn't know it yet, but she's reawakening something ancient in her body. The connection between her knees and toes, the line that carries every step she takes. Most people never think about it, but the body is a chain, each joint linked to the next. When the knees stiffen, the ankles lose their rhythm. When the toes grow weak, balance fades away. It's not just the joints that suffer. The entire body begins to move differently, slower, heavier, less certain. Over time, that small disconnect becomes the root of so much pain. But when the chain reconnects, even through a simple motion, everything changes. The knees begin to glide again. The ankles find their rhythm. The toes rediscover their strength. Movement becomes a conversation instead of a struggle. Margaret bends again, a little deeper this time. Her body wobbles slightly, but she steadies herself with a soft laugh. She can feel her calves stretching, her knees bending with more trust. It's as if her body is remembering how to move together. Not in pieces, but as one. That realization surprises her. She never knew that something so gentle could feel so powerful. The motion is small, but it feels like a key turning in a lock. Her body isn't broken, it's just been waiting to be reminded. And with every slow bend, the message becomes clearer. You can move. You can heal. You can begin again. The sun climbs higher outside her window. Margaret continues, slow and steady, her breath matching the rhythm of her bends. For the first time in years, she feels in control of her own body again. The stiffness is still there, but it no longer feels permanent. It feels like something she can change. And in that moment, she understands, healing starts not with strength, but with awareness. From her knees to her toes, every motion is a promise to keep moving forward. Margaret stands in her living room the next day, sunlight warming the wooden floor. She takes a deep breath, her hands resting lightly on the back of a sturdy chair. Her heart beats a little faster, not from fear but anticipation. Today, she's ready to truly learn the movement Claire told her about. The knee-to-toe bend. It sounds simple, yet it holds something deeper, a rhythm between control and release. She plants her feet shoulder-width apart, feeling the ground beneath her toes. Her spine straightens, her shoulders relax, her breath slows down. For a moment, she just stands there, feeling her weight settle evenly through her body. Then she begins. Her knees bend gently, the motion small but steady. Her heels stay grounded, her body leaning slightly forward. Her toes press into the floor, then release. It's a wave, a quiet flowing motion that travels through her legs. She straightens again, moving slowly, aware of every shift. No pain, no rush, just movement. She tries again, this time letting the motion feel natural, almost like breathing. Down, pause, up. The rhythm begins to form, steady and calm. Each bend feels smoother, each rise feels lighter. Margaret notices something. Her body isn't fighting back anymore. Her muscles are listening. Her joints are cooperating. Her breath falls into sync with the motion, exhaling as she bends, inhaling as she rises. It feels almost like a dance, one she forgot she knew. With every repetition, her confidence grows. She dares to bend a little deeper, holding for a heartbeat before coming up. The ground feels more alive beneath her. Her balance steadies, her ankles begin to wake. She realizes how much strength lives in stillness, in gentle control. The small tremors in her legs are not weakness, they're proof of effort. Proof that something within her is rebuilding. She smiles, the corners of her lips softening into peace. This isn't just exercise. It's communication, a dialogue between her body and her will. Her knees speak, her toes respond, her mind listens. The ache that once controlled her mornings now feels like a quiet echo fading away. She keeps moving, her rhythm slow but sure. 5 repetitions, then 6. She stops for a moment, her chest rising with calm pride. The air feels lighter. Her body feels hers again. Margaret glances at her reflection in the window, not to admire, but to recognize. She sees someone rediscovering her strength, not through power but through patience. And as the morning light fills the room, she whispers softly to herself. This is what healing feels like. Her knees bend once more. Her toes press gently into the ground. And in that quiet moment, movement becomes grace. Margaret sits by the window later that afternoon, the sun warm on her hands. She feels a gentle pulse of energy in her legs, something she hasn't noticed in years. It's not pain, it's life moving again. Her knees feel softer, her ankles more awake, her steps more grounded. She wondered why such a small motion could make such a big difference. So she asks Claire the next day, curiosity lighting her eyes. Claire smiles, stirring her tea slowly, as if savoring the question itself. It's simple, she says. Movement heals. She explains how the body is built to move, to circulate, to adapt. When we stop moving, Claire continues, the body forgets how to flow. Muscles tighten. Blood slows. The joints grow silent, like doors that haven't opened in years. But when we move, even gently, we wake everything up again. Margaret listens closely, nodding slowly. It makes sense now. The knee-to-toe bend isn't just stretching. It's re-education for the body. Every bend sends blood flowing into the knees and ankles. Every rise activates the small stabilizing muscles that keep balance alive. It's not about strength, it's about communication. The brain reconnects with the joints. The nerves start firing again, sending messages of trust. The body begins to remember how it was meant to move. Think of it like oiling an old hinge, Claire says with a soft laugh. It's not broken, it just needs attention. Margaret smiles, the metaphor landing perfectly. She can feel that truth in every slow bend she practices. Her body had never given up on her. It had only been waiting to be noticed. Every repetition feels like a small apology to herself. For all the years she ignored her pain. For all the mornings she chose stillness over effort. But now she moves with gratitude. Each motion feels purposeful, nourishing, alive. She begins to read about mobility and learns how joints thrive on movement. How synovial fluid, the body's natural cushion, flows better with motion. How even light bending can reduce stiffness and improve circulation. It's science, yes, but it feels like something deeper. Something human. Movement, she realizes, is not just mechanical. It's emotional. It's the language through which the body says, I'm still here. That night, Margaret writes a note and pins it to her mirror. 3 words in her careful handwriting. Keep moving gently. She smiles at it every morning now, before her practice, because she finally understands what Claire meant. Healing isn't a miracle. It's a habit, a quiet commitment to remind the body and the spirit that motion is life. And every bend from knee to toe is a small celebration of that truth. Weeks pass, and Margaret's mornings begin to feel different. The stiffness that once greeted her at sunrise has softened into something lighter. Her movements flow more easily now, her steps quieter on the kitchen floor. The ache that used to echo through her knees has turned into a whisper she barely hears. Each day begins with her gentle ritual, the slow, steady rhythm of the knee-to-toe bend. She doesn't rush. She breathes. She listens to her body like an old friend she's finally learning to understand. Outside, the world moves as it always has, birds calling, leaves trembling in the breeze. But inside, something new is blooming. A quiet confidence, a belief that she's reclaiming something she thought was lost forever. Her daughter, Emily, visits one afternoon and notices the difference instantly. "Mom, you're walking easier," she says with a smile. Margaret laughs softly, brushing the dirt from her hands. She's kneeling in the garden again, surrounded by flowers she planted years ago. Her knees bend easily as she leans forward to pull a small weed. "I've been practicing," she says proudly, "a little each day." Emily nods, her eyes full of warmth. It's not just mobility her mother has regained, it's joy. Margaret stands slowly, her body steady, her breath calm. She looks around the garden, remembering how long it had been since she felt this free. The sunlight feels different now, not just warm but alive. The earth beneath her feet feels solid, welcoming, safe. Every small movement has built her strength from the inside out. Every repetition has written a story of renewal into her bones. Neighbors notice too. They see her walking more often, her pace steady, her smile wide. One of them asks how she did it. Margaret simply says, "I started moving again." She doesn't mention the science or the structure. She talks about patience, about listening, about kindness toward her own body. Because it wasn't one big change that transformed her life. It was 1,000 small bends, each one a whisper of healing. She remembers the early mornings when she doubted herself, when her knees trembled, when she wanted to stop. But she didn't. She showed up. And with time, her body began to trust her again. The next day, she teaches Claire's movement to another friend from her walking group. They practice together, laughing at their wobbly balance. But there's something beautiful in the laughter, the shared courage to begin. As the sun dips below the horizon, Margaret sits on her porch, sipping her tea. She looks at her legs stretched before her, her toes wiggling softly in the light. She feels strong, not like she once was, but in a way that feels new, earned, and deeply human. And in that quiet evening glow, she realizes something simple. Healing isn't about returning to the past. It's about creating a new rhythm, one gentle bend at a time. The following week, Margaret begins to notice how easily the days flow. Her mornings start with a smile, her body greeting her with quiet strength. No more hesitation before stepping out of bed. No more doubt about what her knees or ankles can handle. She stands tall, her breath deep and even. The world outside feels brighter, not because it changed, but because she did. One morning, she decides to share her small practice with her grandson, Leo. He watches her curiously as she bends her knees and shifts her weight forward. "Grandma, that looks easy," he says with a grin. Margaret chuckles softly. "It is, but it changes everything." Leo tries it, wobbling a little, then laughing as he nearly tips over. She steadies him with her hands, guiding his motion. "Slowly," she says, "feel the ground beneath your feet, move with care." He copies her, moving gently, and the two of them bend together in rhythm. The air fills with laughter, the sound of generations moving side by side. In that simple moment, Margaret feels something powerful: continuity. What she's learned isn't just for her. It's a gift she can pass on, a reminder that care and movement belong to every age. Later that day, she sits with Claire at their favorite cafe. They talk about small habits and big changes. Claire smiles, watching Margaret's relaxed posture. "You look lighter," she says. Margaret nods, her eyes calm. "I think I am," she answers. "Not just in my body, but in my mind too." Because somewhere along this journey, she discovered that movement is more than exercise. It's an act of faith, a quiet belief that the body can renew itself when given patience and love. Every slow bend, every careful rise, taught her more than any lesson could. She learned to trust her balance, to respect her pace, to find beauty in progress, not perfection. For people over 60, she thinks, the hardest part isn't the motion, it's the first decision to try. To begin despite fear, to move despite stiffness, to believe that healing can still happen. Margaret now begins each day with 5 gentle bends. She doesn't count them anymore. She feels them, each one a quiet promise to stay active, to stay curious, to stay alive. She tells her friends, start small, even 5 minutes matter. And when someone says, "I'm too old for that," she smiles kindly. "No one is too old to move," she says. "You just have to start gently." That night, as the sun fades and her home grows still, she stands one last time. Her feet grounded, her knees soft, her breath steady. She bends slowly, feeling gratitude flow through her like light. Because now, every movement is a reminder. She isn't just moving her body, she's moving her life forward. One mindful bend, one quiet victory. From knee to toe, the evening light settles softly through Margaret's window. She stands once more, her hands resting gently by her sides. Her body feels calm, steady, familiar, like coming home after a long journey. Outside, the world hums quietly, but inside there's peace. She bends her knees one last time, slow and mindful. Her heels stay grounded, her toes press forward with ease. The motion feels effortless now, natural, graceful. It's no longer practice, it's part of who she is. Each breath carries gratitude. Each bend carries memory. She remembers the stiffness, the hesitation, the fear. And she smiles because they led her here to strength, to balance, to freedom. The journey wasn't about youth. It was about rediscovering connection. From knee to toe, from body to spirit, from movement to meaning. She straightens, her eyes soft with quiet pride. Then whispers to herself, almost like a promise, "Keep moving gently." The room falls silent, but her heart keeps its rhythm. And in that stillness, Margaret knows she has found her way back to herself.